have some people from MTIP joining us remotely. So I would like then, if they are present, to ask them to introduce themselves. Unfortunately, George cannot be with us because he's in quarantine. So, yeah, okay. So when you are ready, we can start. I would like, yeah, I would like to invite Mr. Kalleya to give a brief overview of the work that CPD are currently doing and how our project, CRISI ADAPT, will be then also related to the work that they are doing. But first, I would like to invite Mr. Kalleya to give us an introduction.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Kalle, as already said, and Dr. Nadia. I would like to give an overview of two projects we are doing as civil protection in Malta. The first project is about tsunami, which we did an exercise at a low level coast the sea, which gave us indications what happens when a tsunami occurs. We even did the exercise physically, where our personnel even evacuated the part of the coast where we decided to do the exercise, and it worked well. People have conquered, um, uh, participated in this exercise. And another exercise we're doing with the Energy and Water Agency, which they are mapping um, uh, areas where do floods during the rain. Even if we've got a system in Malta which it was done for some years now, where tunnels were built to capture the excessive of water, and it rains from the roads to the sea. Actually, they are doing a project where they are installing equipment which can give us levels of flooding and even the currents. It is at the beginning of this project, but we are working on it to be installed in our control room. When floods happens, it indicates the prone areas and give us even the current of the situation.
Thank you. Thank you. I think like this, we have also an idea, and this is what we have been discussing, as you are all aware from Aquatech side, with CPD, the relationship between the initiatives that are being taken up by CPD as part of their normal day-to-day work and the challenges that they encounter, and how then the CRIT and MEET tool can continue to assist or can in any way feed into the activities that the CPD is doing. Due to the fact that we joined late, I don't know if you have already exchanged introductions or greetings with the teams from MTIP. So I see Carmel, I see Ines and Chris. And therefore, these persons from the other counterpart of the stakeholder group in Malta, I think it would be great now to see the work that you have been doing and how it's going to be impinging on the work that the Maltese stakeholders are doing locally. So Okay, so Robert, in your hands.
Or Cesar, please show your agenda, and after I, yes. Okay, okay, one moment, please. Um, well, my screen. No, no. Okay, this one. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. So uh, mm, the um, the challenge that CRISI ADAPT is addressing is to reduce the technical and temporal gap between the climate risk analysis and the implementation of the operations for the resilience plans. And our solution is to co-design customized climate services on a continuous time scale, thanks to the participation, contributions of end users to incorporate their needs and requirements and to validate the services in a real time. So the key idea of the project CRISI ADAPT project is to consider the entire time scale from the long-term climate projections on the end of the century to the real-time the nowcasting of these climate-related hazards, passing throughout seasonal, decadal prediction, weather forecast. So all time scales are important to identify the climate risk and to monitor all these natural hazards and validate the operational and adaptation planning. For both big time scales, we are co-designing the tool, the climate risk information tool and monitoring extreme events tool. And the demonstration of CRISI ADAPT are in 4 places, mainly 3 places: Malta, Cyprus, Valencia, and Andalusia. The project is divided in 6 technical work packages. One for starting the inputs of initial information, climate information, impact information, and integration platform corresponding to the tool. The training adaptation replicability that is related to this workshop to test the tool, and a final technical work package concerning the forging resilience. We are here in the last 2 months of the project, so the most important are the training and adaptation planning, and the tool is already working with an important unremarkable feature of technology and societal readiness levels, up to 7 or 8 for operational monitoring of multi-time scale climate-related hazard, management of vulnerable elements and their climate sensitivity, and other climate risk assessment, other multi-criteria decision, among others. The main platforms of the CRISI ADAPT tool are in Andalusia, Malta, Port de Valencia, La Catamia, and Conselice. Later, Cesar will introduce more details about the tool, and as mentioned in the agenda, as a training session is expected for all of you. What are we expecting in this workshop? The most important session is this working group, a training session. We need to identify how can we use the tool, how can we improve our operations, that is, what products can we generate with the tool, how can we measure the uncertainty of the climate projections, how can we measure the potential impacts, how can we improve our operations, what short-term investments or operation could be modified, what long-term strategies are related to the modified operations, can we identify possible change of strategy linked. So all these questions need to be answered at the end of this workshop, thanks to the training session, with a template to help to support our training and the other questions mentioned by Cesar. So this is my brief introduction of the expectation of the workshop. I don't know if are time for questions or no.
Yeah, Robert, can I ask you to move one step back, please, so that we can also take the last slide you showed before this one, where you had the questions, please.
These questions,
Yes,
this one.
yes. So no, the questions, please.
No, the question, this one.
No, the slide where you have the working group.
This one.
No, the next one, please. The
The template. The template is here.
Yeah, that one. Just need to capture again the picture, please. Just a second.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we will be through the workshop and the exercises that you have assigned for us. We will be testing the tool, and then we will be able to, as a discussion, come up with suggestions, answers, or modifications based on those questions. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
And the most important for the time session is the questions presented in the template, and the objective is to discuss later an interpretation of the conclusions in a more focus on in this general question. So the training session is specific for the products to be generated using the tool, and the general questions are to discuss later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The template will be provided by Cesar in the training session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you want us to work on a printed copy, or we can work on a soft copy, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess you could work online. I don't know. Since you have to put some screenshots on a printed one, that could be sort of difficult.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
We will find a way how to work on this. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I think that you're already done, Robert, right?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah, okay, so we could leave the floor again to you, Nadia, and all the people from Malta. So I'll just let you, take the charts and show us what you have to see.
Okay, so well, I think we have come at least quite a long journey since we started the project, in a sense that with the help of the stakeholders here in Malta, we have been adding on to the tool, and as well understanding how such a tool can fit into the various, let's say, stakeholders working on managing what is for us a major issue, that is flash floods, and the impact that the flash floods leave on a small island which is highly urbanized, highly populated, and also in certain areas very congested. The way the work has evolved throughout the past 2 years and a half of the project, where we have been assessing the tool and the use of such a tool, have taken us from a situation of trying to map who the stakeholders are and how they work with each other, which was, let's say, the initial exercise that we were asked to fulfill, and then into the situation where we are seeing not just initiatives taken by the individual stakeholders, but then how these initiatives are fitting into one another, and also fitting into a larger picture, which is that of a national planning plan, or a national infrastructural plan that will help, will benefit, rather than will help, will benefit from such tools. I think one area, an area that has been recurrent through the project has been the fact that stakeholders tend or can sometimes not be working with one another. However, I think through this project, we have seen how different entities, civil protection in firstly Red Cross, and then also government departments, especially research units such as the ones we have here present today with us as well, have also worked together and are working together into trying to come up with plans that make sense for the realities that we live in. I mean, when we were testing the tool, we were also seeing, for example, the realities of small places and how mapping in small places can take place, and we will be sharing this with our stakeholders. I personally, I think that there are various lessons that can be taken forward from here. Primarily, the use of technology in assessing and assessing what could be the impact, and therefore assessing using a tool for planning purposes, but also using the tool for assessing immediate situations. And one exercise that we have asked you as project partners to do is to use the tool, or to create a tool that can also address the immediate needs of entities that are working on search and rescue and civil protection, such as the team that we have here. In other words, what I mean to say is that the tool needs to be utilized for both the, let's say, immediate and medium to short term needs. And this is, I think, something that you have managed to do and to help us to understand better. So this is from my side. I would like to invite the teams from the MTIP units to see if they have something else to add. And then I think we can proceed to see and learn more how the tool can be of support to the various teams that we have here locally.
Perfect.
Okay, then, so I guess,
Hi, Carmel.
yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Ma, I would recommend also to invite for future events in this workshop the Building and Construction Authority. Why? Because they have a remit as regards the performance, setting the performance criteria for buildings, and that includes the sizing of the reservoir for the collection of the rainwater runoff from roofs and that sort of thing. In fact, I can inform you that apart from my official duties within the Research and Planning Unit of the Public Works Department, I am also a consultant with the Building and Construction Authority. And I have advised as also as regards the sizing of this water reservoir for the harvesting of rainwater. I have analyzed Met Office data for the last 30 years. And one could see a shift, a certain trend for reduction in rainfall annually, total annual rainfall, but and this is a very important but. Events of extreme rainfall are on the increase. We have experienced that on the 25th November of last year. Therefore, in this context, if one had to go with modeling the sizing of the reservoir simply on some economic cost benefit analysis of harvesting rainwater, I can't at this moment, I don't have permission to reveal data, but if the in future events, if the Building and Construction Authority gives such approval, of course, we could reveal. You could, one arrives at a certain sizing, but in order to help prevent flooding, because rainwater runoff from built-up areas is, of course, a major component of flood risk, I have advised that the water reservoir will be of a certain percentage more, and that is evidence-based on such extreme weather events, to reduce as much as possible the water runoff in extreme weather events. With that, perhaps is a bit of good news to you, and I regret that in a few moments' time I have other commitments with other international colleagues on some research projects, but at the moment, I think with that information, and also the advice to incorporate also the Building and Construction Authority is the best advice that I could give at this point in time. Thank you for the opportunity, and all the best for the rest of the workshop.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmel. Yeah, go ahead, Nadia.
Okay. I would like to see if anyone else would like to add from your side. Is anything else? Okay. Chris, would you like to? Hi.
Sorry, geologist working in the same unit as Carmelo. First of all, we're no longer MTIP. We're now MPWP because we changed ministry. So it's Ministry for Public Works and Planning.
Thank you.
Unit is still the same though, Research and Planning Unit.
Ministry for Public Works. All right.
Basically, what I wanted to add was the Research and Planning Unit is it's a holistic kind of unit. We have different sectoral subjects, fields of areas of studies inside the unit. From my end, I'm a geologist within the coastal and climate kind of sectoral part. And we're mostly involved with coastal erosion, and currently we're seeing a lot of it even with climate change, even increases in dangerous structures and so on. That's basically what I wanted to add.
Okay. Chris, you know that part of our project also was looking at coastal flooding
Yes.
as well. So maybe this once we see the tool, this could be something that then we could see how it can be adapted to, because what we'll be testing today, I think, would be more fluvial flooding rather than coastal flooding.
Okay.
But I think there is a strong relationship, especially as this was a point that came quite early on in our discussions with Aquatech and our local stakeholders as well, that in Malta, given our size, there is also a close relationship, and there could be a close relationship between the two parts or the two types of flooding, and therefore we can see how each of the different aspects can fit into the whole picture. So I do invite you please to evaluate also the tool, because it would be of immense importance even to our partners, Aquatech and Meteogrid, as well as to the lead partner of the project, because as you know, one aspect of a project is always its sustainability. So the project does not stop here, but we need to look into its future evolution and application, of course.
Yes, of course. With regards to fluvial flooding, technically it is somewhat involved in our work as well, because coastal areas also have headlands and cliffs and so on. So most bays or embayments and beaches anyways have occurred because of valleys and cliffs separating each other. So that's being caused by fluvial flooding. So yes, it's a good concept to take a look at as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so maybe we can proceed, Robert and Cesar.
Sure. So I guess that from your side, it's okay.
Yep.
So we can leave the floor. Maybe since it's a 10:15, we could move on to the aquatic part. And so leave the floor to, I don't know if Beniamino or Andrea, since it's quite soon, so as to say, we could, yeah, move already now to the aquatic part and maybe leave them some more minutes that was scheduled, and then we could take the coffee break and after that move to the workshop.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Cesar.
Sure.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you hear me loud and clear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you a quick resume of what we have done in Malta so far. I mean, the work we have done, the analysis, the results we have obtained, and then just a quick overview how you could, use these results into the platform and how you could take the advantage of what we have done. Okay. Like you see it in full screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so before starting, remember that we have sent to the Maltese stakeholders the second internal report, which includes also the comprehensive flooding assessment for the Malta case study. There we have detailed all the works we have done, and this the information we use, how we combine informations, which is the theory behind our way of working. And I please you to, have a look and just send some feedback, some ideas, some suggestion, because we really need to, heard from your part. What do you think about the job? I think if we miss something, if we can explore new parts, new ways of analyzing all the information we have in Malta. So I ask you please to let's have a quick read. There you can find also all the maps we have calculated. Obviously, it's not in high resolution because it's just a PDF, but just to have a look, and it would be very important for us to have your feedback. So please read it. Thanks. Well, the objective and scope for the Malta case study was to complete the pluvial flood risk assessment and a coastal flood risk assessment. the area were different. For the pluvial flood risk assessment, the main area was the central hydrological basin of Malta, which is the biggest one, is located into the center, and we embraced the major the major municipalities, Gorma, Birkir, Karamzida, and obviously the capital of La Valletta. And then to complete a coastal flood risk assessment with respect to climate change, sea level rise on the northwestern shorelines of the highland, embracing, I think it's the most touristic part as I get. The idea behind this methodology is to evaluate the risk of the area, of these areas, the flood risk of these areas, combining the hazard, which is the dangers of the areas generated by the rainfall, acting on the mountain or the area of the basin, and combine it with vulnerability, which is actually a mixing between exposure, susceptibilities, and resilience. The vulnerability is defined by the network we have, the elements, which type of commerce, which type of sensible elements we have within the area, such as hospital, police stations, schools, but also the type of road, if a road is quite dense, quite traffic, or nobody's living there. These elements affecting obviously the vulnerability and then the risk of a certain area. Before starting with the analysis, we made a collection of all the past data and past events you had in Malta. We went back down to 1969, and checking online newspapers, articles, social media, and official research, we have found a lot of information about the past events. As you can see, so far we have found 90, but the number of events obviously are increasing due to climate change. As I remember a person before, Carmelo, was saying before, and so it's actually it's a real problem. You have it, we have it, so it's good to explore and find these correlations between obviously the number of events is increasing and the damage that can cause. We adopt also another good, another kind of new way of making this analysis. As I said, we went online. We found a lot of photos regarding past events. We are pretty happy to find all this information because actually we had basically very few official information from the area. So these photos, and not just this, but also many more, helped a lot to identify which area were the most critical, and obviously how to calibrate the model. I think it's a pretty underestimated way of getting data using social network. If you think about people is always around with mobile phone, is in strategic parts of the city, so they can take photos, just upload it online. I gotta say that using Twitter, we had a lot of information that without using this solution, it would be definitely impossible to have these details of information. Because if you think about in these photos, we have a date, we have a time, we have a location, and with this photo we can actually see the extension of the water, the depth of the water, and combine and compare with the results of our model to see if the model is working properly, if we have some problems, if we have to adjust in some way. Obviously, it's not the best way, but it's a good way. I think it's definitely underestimated as a way of working. Other data we have found, all the photos we have collected, we have grouped in Google Earth. Just a way to organize a bit the photos to see, okay, this is the area, that it's another area. The colleagues from Paragon EU help us a lot to make this work, and actually it's helped us a lot at the moment to to calibrate the model and see if the model was working correctly or not. Also, we have downloaded a lot of vulnerable elements in the form of shape map. We also found the transportation lines across the island, downloaded freely from OpenStreetMaps. We have organized it in different categories, such as fire station, police, water, schools. Just to geolocalize all this information was pretty useful and easy to then develop vulnerable maps that I show you right now. The methodologies for flood analysis is different if you are considering the tangible impacts. If we consider the tangible impacts or the monetary damage that we can have due to the flood, for example, if water enter into the commercial area, what's going to be the damage in terms of monetary term? And then we could have an intangible impacts, which is actually the perception of if that area is at risk or not, which area are the most dangerous, and where we should be actively working to decrease the risk. The vulnerability maps are the maps that are obtained combining the georeferential spatial data, such as that I showed you before, these datas. We combine it with different criteria, considering the road type for the vehicles or the number, the density, and the location of strategic buildings such as hospital, to define the areas like with point red where the vulnerability was either, because obviously if this building, for example, an hospital, is affected during a flood, it will be a major threat, obviously, because if people need assistance, cannot enter the hospital. So we must preserve these facilities and these structures, obviously. Going to the model, we have made a 1D, 2D flood modeling, combining the drainage system you have actually in the city, which is the National Flood Relief Program tunnels, with it's running down within the Birkir Karamzida catchment, Birkir Karamzida municipalities, and inside the Kormi municipalities. These two tunnels actually catching the whole river that they were getting down from the upper part of the Malta catchment, and they catch the water across in these lines, which are older rivers, and then bring it directly to the sea. We have model at inlet scale, so we went step by step within the ways of these tunnels, and counting the number of inlets actually to reproduce in the most feasible way the drainage system. This is the extension of the hydrological basin from the upper part. Here we have as a hilly part, mountain part of the catchment down to the sea. This is the infiltrations soils that we use. We use 6 different infiltrations ratios. Those are the buildings obtained by a shapefile from OpenStreetMaps. Regarding the hydrological part, FIG passed us the rainfall climate change coefficients. As we can see, the worst case scenario could lead to an increase about 52% of the actual rainfall that you have in Malta. This is not meaning that you're going to have like 52% rainfall more in the wall here, but did you have a good probability to have at least 52% of increase of the rainfall. But looking at the climate change projection, also for the high PCC and other official sources, it is expected to have an increasing amount of rainfall, but in shorter days. So you have heavy rainfalls that could lead also to flash flood problems, which are the issue we are studying right now. And we built rainfall, the project rainfall, and we simulated every single rainfall you see here using the historical rainfall and multiplying for the climate change coefficients. So we'd have a wide overview about the possible hydrological condition that the catchment could live right now and in the future. These are the simulations we have completed. We have made a number of 49 simulations, 25 for pluvial and 34 for coastal. And then we had some special condition, to see what happened in case of, for example, the Cormi channel is blocked. Civil protection told us that it's pretty common situation where the cars are dragged within the Cormi channel and blocked the bridge, so the water goes outside the city. We simulated that condition to see what happened. And also we made some compound events, obviously to combining rainfall and sea level rise, like waves, to see if the sea, if what happened if water coming from the sea entering into the drainage system, and if something affect the way it works. Actually, we didn't find any problematic issues, but it was important to go deep until that point. For the coastal simulation, we took in consideration higher return periods, up to 500, 1,000 years of return period, while for the pluvial, it was unnecessary to go so far, obviously, because we didn't have any longer rainfall time series. In urban area study, usually we works up to 20 years return period, no more. This is an example of the map we have calculated. This is uploaded into the platform, and as you can see, obviously in function of the water depth you have, you will see different colors, and we didn't calculate just the depth but also the speed, so you can work also. We can see actually a hydrodynamics forces that this flooding area is generating. The most common way of using these maps is using the depth maps to see where it's flooded. Regarding the intangible damages, this is the results of our analysis. We see that both for pedestrians and for vehicles, the risk area is going to increase. For every projection in every scenario, so you're going to increase the risky area. So no matter what, I don't know how to say it, but it's pretty obvious that having stronger rainfall in shorter period, you're gonna have much more problems. So this is the kind of quantification of the problems you could have in the next future. Same. This was for coastal. I'm sorry. This is for pluvial. Same happened in pluvial. You're gonna see an increase about 30%, average 30% of the risky areas. Regarding the quantification of the damages in terms of monetary term, we use your references from the National Flood Relief Project of the 2030. You have calculated the unit rate of the damage, usually the damage, depending on the type of buildings, residential, commercial, and others, and combining with the water depth. In function of a higher water depth, you have a percentage of the damage. So we used your data to make an estimation of the damage in terms of monetary terms. And as it is for the risky areas, you're going to see an increase about 50% and even more of the damages. Well, at least it's possible you have this increase. Obviously, it's not sure, but it's pretty possible that you have this increase, both for coastal and pluvial. What else? This is an example of the intangible damages maps that you can show within the platform. So this is like this graph into the platform. This is pretty useful to see which are the most affected areas, how we can with that hack directly on them to decrease the monetary damage that we could have. To make a comparison, I'm sorry, within the other modeling criteria that you adopted in the previous years, going deep into the the comparison, we did a National Flood Relief project model and the Water Agency project. We made much more simulations and considering also tangible, intangible damages and also coastal floods that you haven't studied before, or I mean, you have studied in other conditions. And we model at hydrological scale instead of municipal scale, so we have a greater idea how the water is behaving inside the drainage, inside the hydrological basin. And also we use a higher definition of geometry, and obviously it's 1D and 2D, not just 1D or 2D. So why using all this work within the CRIT platform? Because I mean, so far the platform is excellent daily weather forecast and seasonal prediction. It's a nearly warning system for pluvial floods. So combining the weather forecast, the seasonal prediction with the maps we have calculated, this could be pretty interesting to use it as early warning system. It is a wide repository of hydrological and hydrodynamic analysis of the catchment we have studied. And it's a powerful instrument for urban risk assessment and long-term urban development planning for local stakeholders, but also for privates if you wanna like get access to private also. What it could be, if you were interested into adopting this platform, what it could be, how we can extend, how we can widen this platform. I mean, we can get it into the early warning system, also the coastal flood, not just the pluvial flood. It could become a live platform as support to stakeholders operation for civil protection, for example. It would be pretty interesting to have this platform like live during their operations. And they can obviously upload their hydrological, hydrodynamic analysis for the whole archipelago, not just for the studying area. And more. I mean, we open to get your suggestions and your idea about we can widen this platform. Last but not least, we have presented this case study with all the analysis we have done, the platform, and obviously the Malta issue on flood risk in 2 conferences. One conference was last year in Australia, and the next one will be in June in Spain. And we are waiting also to make a publication on a peer-reviewed journal. And that's it. If you have any question, if you have any doubts, if you want me to get back to any slide, show it better, I'm here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you. You're welcome. Hope it was clear.
Yes, for us it was clear. Thank you. Any questions?
Well, you showed the map of the damages that cannot clear.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of damage do you say?
Andrea, did you hear the question, please? No. So Mr. Kalea is asking, when you were showing the slide on the damages, can you elaborate a little bit more on what kind of damages you were referring to, please?
Yes, of course. Which one which damages?
When he showed the map.
Do you have the map? Mm-hmm.
This one?
Yes, this one.
Okay, so basically what is the map? I mean, we combine it. I'm using this because it's easier to explain. I mean, if we combine the flood maps that we obtain with vulnerability maps and a quantification of the damage in function of the depth. So for example, if we have, I don't know, 20 centimeters in that area, it means that we have that damage in percentage of the building, which has been that damages in terms of monetary. If we make this geospatial overlapping between these 2 maps, we're going to obtain a maps which is which is this one, okay? So every single polygon represent a building, represent like actually a spatial area of the city. Within every single polygon, there is an information regarding the type of commercial we have there. For example, if it's a shop or if it's in a house, a school, or whatever. And obviously, depending by your indication, this indication. So, for example, if it's a commercial building, less prestigious showroom shops, if we have like 20 square meters of a shop, the damage of, I don't know, 20%, the damage will be the 20% of the building. So this rating multiplied for the area, we're going to have a certain amount of damage. And also it's different for industrial, agricultural area, green areas. And we obtain these colors. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that in those areas, you have like vulnerable facilities, that it could be hospital or a school or police stations, or maybe you have like archaeological sites. And that's it. This map, imagine this map applied to, I mean, to the whole island, you know, and before making any planning, you know, way should be act to protect a particular area instead of an area. Obviously, this is just an indication of the damage. It's not exactly the damage you're gonna have, but it's an indication in function of the building and the structure you have in that point.
Sorry, Andrea. Beniamino from Aquatech also speaking. Let me add something about this point. The hydrodynamic 1D 2D model provide water depth and water velocity in all the cells of the domain that we are considering. With water depth outside the building, in the sense that the hydrodynamic model provide this kind of data on the streets, parks, open area, etc. We translate this water depth into the buildings through a consolidated methodology that we have developed in other European projects, and also published in important journals. So we move the water depth outside in the water depth inside the building, and then depending on the land use and the type of the buildings, we obtain a water depth within the building at the different floor, basement or ground floor, etc. And then we can relate this water depth to local and tailored flood depth damage curves in order to attain the damage for each simulation that we are performing. So this is the methodology behind this kind of maps. Of course, we could provide this kind of map for historical events and also for synthetic events, considering climate change projection, etc. In Malta, we could not validate these results using local historical data, but in other cities and in other projects, we validated this approach, this method, using historical claims covered by the properties, by insurance sectors. So this is a consolidated methodology that we have also applied in Malta.
Yes, may I ask, what is, on how much depth this was projected?
So on what depth was this projected, please? The depth of water, right? Water depth. What was the average water depth that you used for the model?
The water depth come from the uncontrolled water runoff, stormwater runoff, that is not introduced into the sewers, but also come from the surcharged sewers that generate an overflow in the streets. So in the street we have the flow not captured by the inlet or coming from the surcharged pipes. This flow around some centimeters or meters is the flow that we use to move into the buildings according to sealing coefficients or specific function related to the type of buildings and the land use. But the flow comes from the stormwater circulating into the streets. This is for the pluvial flood. And if I'm not wrong, please, Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong. For the coastal, we are considering a function combining maximum height of the wave and sea level rise, so the maximum level of the sea during extreme events, applying an hydrostatic approach in the sense that the same height that we have in the sea, we translate this height into the coastal shorelines and apply this value into the building. So we are using flow depth from pluvial hydrodynamic 1D 2D pluvial model and the flow depth coming from the coastal model.
Thank you, Beniamino. Just to confirm, when we calculated this locally, we used the photos as well, right, for calibration of the depth of water, just to get an idea, an average. And was it?
Yeah.
Am I correct if I say it was around 20 centimeters, because I have this figure in mind? Is it correct, Andrea, please? Or was it more?
No. Yeah, actually, for example, in this point, for example, this, I mean, I remember it was this, or maybe it was this point right here in the middle. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to show you the photo related that we used to make a calibration. We used this photo. This was an event it was like 2003. And we use this photo because in this photo, it's pretty easy to see like the height they have the water in this point. Here you can see it on the wall, and you can see it on the door also. So we know that at the maximum, at the peak of the event, the water depth in that point was that depth, and more or less was about 1 meter or so. And obviously we forced the model to reproduce this condition, and we made this assumption in different points of the city using different photos, obviously for the same event. The moment we calibrate for one event, and we made it for another event, and then validated using photos and using obviously expertise to validate the model. But yes, we adopted the photo for the calibration part because we didn't have any official measurement of water depth or whatever in the wall area. So we had to find a way to validate the model in non-traditional way, let's say.
Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome.
I was explaining that it was like, like a triangulation methodology, getting the information from different sources to arrive at the depth. Of course, it would be easier had we had the value of the depth, which is something I think the Water Energy Agency is now working on, right? Should be working on. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have other questions, maybe from the other persons present here? None from the room where I am. So yeah, looking forward to test it now.
Okay,
I
that's
guess.
good. Just the last stuff. I mean, I would like to remind you that this is the platform we have it right now. This is the work we have done so far, considering also that we have a big cut in the budget in the middle of the project. So we finished what we have done, what we had to do with this budget cut. But I mean, it's not end here. I mean, the idea of the platform, what it was even bigger, introducing new stuff, introducing also the cascading effects analysis, combining all the infrastructures and the vulnerable elements they had. But I mean, obviously, we didn't have time or money to finish this development. But I would like to, I mean, to push to see something in this platform, see like a way you could adopt and use this platform, and to propose your needs to, I mean, to adapt the platform to increase the potential of the platform. And I mean, this is so far what we have seen, what we have done, but it's not a finish. We can do more. We can expand. We can make even deeper analysis. We can give you a support with the methodology, or apply the methodologies differently. I mean, it's up to you if you see something that interesting. So I mean, we're here for that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay then. So yeah, as just like Andrea said, we indeed have a brief time slot after the testing of the tool to discuss a little bit with you all some of the features that could be implemented into the future, considering uh, the possible acquisition of the platform, and in that case, once we have again the possibility to keep working on the tool with some more funds, we will be on the scenario of developing new capabilities for the platform. But we can discuss and get your feedback about this later on. So once this part of the schedule is over, we can move to the coffee break, so that we have some minutes to breathe. And after that, we'll go right into the workshop part of the workshop. So maybe we can have 10 minutes, and then we'll come back here. The workshop is expected to last for about 2 hours. We have another break of 10 minutes within the workshop, so that we can disconnect again a little bit more. So if it's okay to you, we'll see you again in 10 minutes at 3 past 11. I think it's the same time there in Malta.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, see you all back in 10 minutes, and then we'll start the testing of the tool.
Thank you.
Until now.
Hi, Fisher.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, we are here. Hi. Okay. Yeah, we'll wait for a couple of more minutes, please. And we're coming all back. Yeah, I'll need to share that. Okay. Yeah, maybe you can show it on screen so that everyone can take it, please. Because I don't. Pardon. What would be the best way that we share it with everyone? Because I did not have the emails of everyone to be able to share it. Okay. ħalli nibatulkom ta' jekk hekk se nagħmel ta' hekk se nagħmel.
in the meantime, for those of you who are already online, which I think that outside of the consortium would be only CRISI. So if you wanna take the document and also test the tool and make the exercises from your home or from your workplace, you got the link right here in the chat.
So I'm sharing it with the team here. Okay.
Great.
Just bear with me a second.
Yeah.
Suppost telqet. L-adress ta' ma ġietx lura ġifieri telqet minn għandi. Nara mill-infetti. Chris, do you need me to send you the link as well, or you have it already?
Yeah, I think he got it from the chat.
From the chat, okay.
Yeah, I just accessed it right now. Thank you.
All right, Martin Hattanti. Okay, we're sharing it as well from here. Issa, mbagħad issa mbagħad ħajispjegalkom kif nidħlu ta'. Suppost inti it-template, yes. Okay, so mit-template mbagħad ħanidħlu mill-oħra nidħlu fil-platform. Mill-link ta' fuq ħad tidħol fil-platform.
Let me know, Nadia, so that I can pass to the guidelines and briefly explain to everyone.
Voilà. Kulħadd lest, please. Okay, so we're all on the same. We're all on the platform and we have both the template and the platform.
Great. So I'll just share the screen briefly and make the guidelines about how the workshop is going to take place. Let me share the screen. Where is it? This is here it is. Great. Okay, so yeah, I'll just explain the template right now. First, I'll go back to the agenda. So we are past this point of the state of the art, which was the Aquatech talk, and we are right into the workshop now. So I'll just explain the structure of it and how we're gonna proceed. First, well, this is the guidelines, which obviously is what I'm doing right now. So after the explanation, we'll go right into the working group. The first, it's divided in 3 sections. So the first one, it's the solve case of the tool. We'll be briefly explaining, both Andrea and I, how the tool is, or the platform is configured, its modules, different tabs, functionalities, what you can get from it, the way it is as of today, the platform. I'll briefly introduce you to the different capabilities, and so that you can at least get familiarized with it and use them right after this section, so that you can proceed with the exercises and complete them successfully. So yeah, that will be the first part. It should take around 30 minutes. Then we'll go to the second section, which is the training. In that case, we'll be using the template, which is the document you are, as I see, most of you connected. We have here a camel, a kangaroo, a goose, and a kraken. So I guess those are you people. So here in the template, since the ideal way of using it would be all of you to have a copy of it instead of working online. So you can you can go to archive, or how you will see it in English, and download a copy of it in Microsoft Word or in ODF, or just copy the whole of the document with the mouse, dragging it down, and open a new file, archive new document, so that you can open a new Google Doc, copy it, and use it, so that you have your own copy. Here in the template, you can see that the first part of the document, you have the link to the platform, the credentials. So those ones are generic ones for testing purposes. You should be able to connect each one of you with no problem whatsoever. I hope so. So you have the user, which is Malta, the password, which is MeteoGrid, and once you go with the completion of the exercises, once you have them done, please, if you are able, go to this link where you have the exercise solution. This should open a drive folder, which is this one, so you can upload your copy of the template in here, and we can have a look after the workshop to both see how the platform was understood from your side, and also have some more evidence in order to justify KPIs to Climate Kick that the workshop took place successfully. So in this template you have 5 different exercises with some sections, which is the first one would be regarding the climate extremes, second one regarding meteorological and seasonal forecasts, third one future projection of river floods regarding fluvial flooding, the fourth one the how to get familiarized with the operational prediction of flooding, and the fifth one a brief introduction to the decision-making capabilities of the tool. The way, well, you have inside or within each exercise, you have different tasks. So we'll be explaining them once we get to the testing part of the workshop. In the first section, we'll let you know the way to solve this. And once we go to the testing part, if you have any type of doubt or question, you can just ask Nadia, or let us know, and we'll help you from the big screen that you have in there. So yeah, after the second section, which is the testing, we'll go through to the last one, which is, as I said before, the discussion on improvements. So once you get familiarized with the tool, we'll try to gather some feedback from you and discuss about further improvements that the platform could get on well with, and yeah, and see, and I'll let you know as well the things that we tried or we wanted to implement, but due to the cuts in funding, we couldn't. And that would be the end of the workshop so far. So this part, which is the break, 10 minutes, we'll take it. We don't know if maybe after the section 1 or after the sections 2, probably after the first section, so that we can disconnect a little bit and then go full in deep to the training part the workshop. So once said this, I'll go right into the first part, which is the solve case of the tool. I don't know, since you're here, may I have your attention? I don't know if you're seeing me.
Yeah, we're all here. We're all
So yeah, I'll just go to the showcase of the tool, showing it the way it's developed. I'll take the first part of this talk, so to say, to introduce you to the meteorology and climatology part of the platform, and then I'll leave the floor to Andrea to briefly talk about the flooding, the coastal and inland flooding, and if he needs some support from my side, of course, I'll be helping him. So well, so far this is what you can all see. Let me just take that. Yeah. So if you are already logged in, this is the first the cover, so to say, of the platform. You have here the name of the platform, which is CRIT and MIT. It's two modules integrated into one. One is working with the climate data. The other one is working with the meteorology one. You should be seeing your user here as Malta, and it should be displaying in English, hopefully, just like mine. So yeah, this is the cover with the logos of the kit, the project, and the platform. And then here in the upper right corner you have. Okay, just 1 second, because I'm clicking on the Google Meet window and not on on the platform. Now, okay, that fooled me. So you have these tabs in here on the upper right corner. We got the meteorology, the climatology, the flood, and some help as well. So yeah, just hold on a second, please. No, great. So yeah, if you move the cursor above the tabs, you'll see a pop-up window with two options. In this case, meteorology, climatology, and flood. So we'll go right into the first one, which is the meteorology part. I'll start first with the ECMWF. It should open a new tab in your browser. So this should be the first thing that you are seeing. You don't have to do this at the same time as me. You'll have the testing part for it. So I'll be introducing to you to the functionalities. So this is the interface so far. It's quite alike in all of the tabs. Here with the logo, the part meteorology ECMWF, the tab that you're surfing in, and here in the window, the main functionalities, as you can see here on this top bar, is the time bar. You can, with the I don't know what to say, with the wheel of the mouse, you can zoom in or zoom out the time. This is the ECMWF, which stands for European Center of Medium Range Weather Forecast. This is the weather forecast, and as you know, it goes up to 10 days into the future. So even if you zoom out, etc., and you see the 18th, I think, of May, if you go further from 10 days, you will not be able to see anything. So you can just click in the bar to see the future forecast here on this box on the upper left corner. You got the layers, the weather variables. So you have here, on layers the variables like maximum temperature. You can click or click precipitation, wind gust, etc. And on references, well, you have several layers like national boundaries, regional, etc. So these are this depends on the country, of course. In the case of Malta, I think that only the national boundary is working. So once you click on a variable, you can use this bar in here to change the transparency of the layer, just in case you wanna use 1, 2, or 3 more layers, or just see what's beneath that. So in this case, we got the maximum temperature, precipitation, etc. I'll just click the maximum temperature, and then you have flow, which is this is a layer that I'll be explaining later. So in this case, I'll leave the maximum temperature clicked. So moving forward, here we have the layers, as I said, on the left part, the time bar, and right here on the right on the right part of the screen, we have this green line with different functionalities. These are generic and general. These are going to be being displayed on all of the tabs of the tool. So you got the zoom in and zoom out. Here on the globe, this is to zoom the whole out. It's not working, I guess, for the case of Malta, but for other cases like the Andalusia one, it's useful to go and see the full perspective. Here on these 4 squares, you can change the background from blank to DTM. I'll just deselect the layer. This is the blank DTM of Malta. In this case, this DTM corresponds to the resolution of the weather model, which is 500 meters, and the aerial view of the archipelago. So I'll just leave the blank. Here you can go full screen, go back with this I don't know the English word for this thing. So you can just click and search for different municipalities, neighborhoods, whatever you wanna go. In this case, look out for the airport, so that you can just focus on some way, or use the GPS or your current situation. On the ruler, you can measure distances from one point to another, and then on the tin you can just click it. You can also measure areas, and on the play button you can create animations for you can just select the start date, time, the final one, and the interval that you want the animation to update. And you can just click OK, and the animation will be displayed on the screen, or you can just click on this arrow and you'll get it downloaded into a GIF or GIF file, so that you can have it in your own laptop and take it whenever you want. These tiny boxes here is the create mosaic option. So if you click on a layer, I'll go back to the maximum temperature and click on the create a mosaic, you'll be seeing a new tab with the mosaic option or feature. Here you'll have this horizontal bar on the down part of the window, so you can move. It creates a mosaic view for the next 10 days, which is the total time horizon that the ECMWF works with. Here you have new functionalities, which is the layers again, to take and create new mosaics. This map allows you to zoom on certain part of the islands. In this case, I'll just go to the northeast coast. So if you see, you can select a new area and the mosaic will update to that part. And then on these other 2 icons, on the printer one, you can create a PDF document, which will open a new tab with a PDF and a new view of a document that you can download with all the future horizons. And this small document will export it to a TIFF file. So yeah, depending on the type of variables, if you select 2, 3 or more variables, you get different rows, and in the PDF you'll get different pages for each of the variable. This is really useful, which it will allow you to see just with your bare eyes the next 10 days of the prediction. In this case, since we are on on spring, and Malta is pretty small and it's an island, so we don't have too much differences in temperature, but we'll try to update the scale and the legend so that you have a clearer view of the temperature. Nevertheless, if you click on any point of the wait a second, I have this. So why is this not working? Hold on a second, please. Okay, now I got freaked out. Okay, so if you click on any point of the map, you'll just see this pop-up window with the forecast at that point. Remember that the resolution is 500 meters, and you click on 1 or 2 or 3 variables, you'll see that the window gets updated with a row for each of the variable, and you can see a view of the next 10 days. You have these 4 options here. In this case, you can again print a PDF, get an Excel or a sheet of with the data, and again you can open it in a new tab with to obtain a clearer view of the forecast. This is updated every 12 hours since it's the SMWF. And yeah, you can get the daily weather forecast with quite a lot of precision. Moving forward to the seasonal forecast, this is downloaded. This is also produced by the SMWF, and it's updated every month. The weather forecast, as I said, has a 10 days of a step or into the future. So if you want to get a peek of how the weather could behave further, you should be taking use of the Copernicus CS5. So this is seasonal forecast, is monthly based. This depicts trends. You should take them with care, because this is a product that it's already being constantly developed and improved. So here again you got the time bar, the general functions like mosaic, create GIF, measure distances, whatever. And on the layers, you have these new layers. You have the anomalies in here, the deterministic forecast, and this is a new functionality that we've implemented that I'll explain right now. So an anomaly, you got take a look at the anomaly of absolute precipitation, which I do not encourage you to use. I rather use the relative one, which is in percentage. So you get here a view for April, May, June, July, August, etc. This arrow should be moving, but it's not doing it. So my apologies, but well, you can see that it changes. So for May, it's expected, if you click again, you get the window. So for May, it's expected 60% less precipitation than average. Again, 40% for June, July, etc., etc. So very dry conditions are expected for this spring and summer in the island. Same again, if you click on maximum temperature anomaly, you'll get the forecast for both variables, etc., etc. This new layer, or this functionality here, which is flow, we know that this tool should also focus on the short and mid-term, as Nadia said before, in order to make it more useful for you and encourage you on a daily use. So this is beta functionality that we implemented to allow you to get an operative way of rainfall alerts. In this case, I gotta say that this has been implemented for the seasonal for the weather forecast. In this case, I gotta say that, as you just saw, really dry conditions are expected for this month and the rest of the spring. So we had to change the algorithm and adapt it for the workshop. So the things that you are going to see regarding this layer are not true. This was just modified for the sake of its use in the workshop, but after it we'll just move it back to the way it's supposed to work. This is just for you to see something, since no rainfall is expected this coming weeks, practically. So this is an operational functionality. It was developed to cross the rainfall forecast of both the seasonal or the weather forecast. It takes the rainfall expected value and cross it with the thresholds that we know that produce different type of flooding. You'll see in some minutes with Andrea. In order to produce new layers of flooding, considering the rainfall that is expected to be measured. So we produce two different layers. This change, as I said, this is the seasonal, so this changes monthly, and in the other case, the CMWF, it changes daily. So in this case, we get these two layers, which is the precipitation alert and the flow depth. The precipitation alert shows from this is in Spanish, I apologize, but it is low, medium, high, very high, and extreme. Being low, the lowest type of flooding causing any type of disturbances to the civilians that could be measured, and extreme, the highest one, the most extreme that has been measured, considering the most extreme type of rainfall and the most extreme return period. So this will show rainfall alert that will be updated depending on if you're using seasonal or weather forecast, so that you can have a look and support your decision making in this case in a seasonal scale. And considering the rainfall that is expected to be measured, again we have the flow depth that crosses, as I said, the rainfall expected with the flooding layers that have been already calculated, to produce a new ones that will let you know more or less where to expect different type of problems or issues regarding fluvial flooding. As I said before, this has been modified considering that almost or practically no rainfall is expected, so we have these 2 pixels to show you that, well, some flooding should be expected here, but of course this is not real. But this is just to show you that once the algorithm goes back to normal, once rainfall is forecasted, this will be changing and getting the colors of the scale for the whole island, depending of the flooding that is expected in an operative way. And we are real proud of this development, but as I said, we have to change it to be able to at least show something now. So this is about the meteorology tab. I'll go now into the climatology one. We have 2 functionalities, which are the extreme climate and the average climatology. I'll go into the average one before or first. Same again, time bar, functionalities, layers. We have this new function here, which is the scenario of climate projection. We have we used 10 different climate models from the last IPCC report, using different RCPs. Well, now they are SSPs, but I guess that you are maybe more familiar with the RCP term. So we took the main ones, and what we did was sort all of these RCPs and models depending on the change in the variable that it's expected or projected, and instead of just showing the RCP or the model, which could be somehow confusing, we sort them depending on the change, since this is a platform that is supposed to help you in going a step forward regarding the damage that a variable could produce. So yeah, you get these 3 scenarios, which is lower, medium, and upper, depending on the change on the variable, being upper the most extreme change with respect to the historical period, and lower the lowest one. So just to see you, if we go to upper and click on the last part of the century or lower, you can see that it changes. This case is for average maximum temperature, but you have more variables like minimum temperature, episodes of temperature above 38 degrees for a certain amount of days, consecutive days, 2, 3, 4, 6. This is for extreme heat episodes. And then we got wind, average annual precipitation, etc. So you can, just by clicking on the time bar, you can see its changes or the SPIs for evapotranspiration. Again, by clicking on any type of point, you'll get the forecast for the future. Just let me update this. Okay. So, as I said, by clicking on any type of point on the window or the island, you'll get the pop-up window with the values into the future. Same if you go, you click 2, 3 more variables, it will update. And here regarding climate, we have these 2 new functionalities, which are really good and really useful for you. It will let you play, and you'll be using it on the exercise right after this. So these 3 ones are the same as in weather and seasonal, which is open a new tab, get a PDF or get an Excel. But these 2 ones on the left part are news, this bar plot and this dice. So for example, if you click on the dice, you'll get this new window, and you can check. Here you have the available options and the selected ones. So for example, we want to see the lower and the upper scenario. We click on OK, and it will produce this plume, or this this is a spread of the values for this selected variable. We can take 2, 3 variables and update it here on group graphics, and it will update. This gets a little bit constrained, so we can just widen the window, and we can see in a same peak that the expected values into the future for the lower and upper. We can update it and select the 3 scenarios, etc. And if we click now on the bar plot, we will switch from these plumes to box plots that will let you see or take a look at the uncertainty of the prediction for each of the variables. I'll just leave one selected, again update, and here is the box plot for average maximum temperature into the future. This is the historical value, which is 1, and then you can see that moving into the future we have the uncertainty amplified. So we have the quantiles, the median, etc. By clicking again on the bar plot, we can switch from one to another, and this works with all the variables and all the time. You have here the time bar and the scenarios, etc. So you can change, if you want to see just one point, you can change the scenario and the time, and if you want to see the whole picture, you can just click on one point and use these options. Again, you can see that you can create animations, etc. And for the extreme climate, again we got Malta, a new window here. We have the same 3 scenarios, but since we are talking now about extreme weather phenomena like extreme rainfall, heat waves, etc., these type of phenomena are sorted in return periods depending on the severity of the event. So we have them sorted in 5, 10, 20, and 30-year return periods. In this case, the layers that are shown are maximum temperature, maximum daily precipitation, maximum wind gust, and SPI and SPEI for drought indices. So for example, regarding maximum daily precipitation, well, same again. We can go to the last part of the century, change to the upper scenario and the extremist event, and same as before. We click. Just let me update this. Upper 30, because we have our colleagues from Metogli doing some improvements, and that's why I updated now. So we have the window, and same as before, we can just click on dice and select the scenarios that we want to check and the return periods, 30 years and 5 in this case, and we'll just get the wait, I just clicked outside the island. Now we get the projections, the box plot. We can select one more variable and gather the two options, etc., etc. So this allows you to get a wider view of how the climate is going to change into the future. And this is everything about the climatology and meteorology tabs. Then we'll go into the flooding one. So I'll leave the floor briefly to Andrea to introduce you to them. And if he wants me to add something, well, yeah, he'll just let me know. Let's stop sharing.
Okay, thanks a lot, Cesar. Let's go here. Okay, I think you can see the screen. See the screen right now. I'm sorry. Okay. So as I said, we made the simulation, made the analysis, flood risk analysis just for this central part of Malta. So most of the information will be here in this area. Here in the flood maps, what do we have? The upper bar, where you can change the period. And then also here on the right part, you can choose the scenario, if medium or upper, as well as the return period. Which elements you can see? You can see vulnerable elements, such as facilities, hospitals and schools and whatever. And you can see also streets. We have built the streets just in this part of the island, just to give you an example. Then you can see the vulnerability maps from vehicles, those maps that we have shown you before, with low, medium, high vulnerability. And then you have all the data set of flood maps that we have calculated. For example, let's zoom at this part. Right now we're in the historical value for the routine period of 5 years. We can change to 10 and then to 20. As you can see, the flood area is changing as well. If we jump at the at the year, it's changing as well. We can change the scenario. This is actually worst case scenario. Okay, so you can click in a specific area, and you can have the variation of the water depth in that point up to the end of the center. For example, right now we have 30 centimeters in that point, and it is expected with rainfall increase of the climate projection to double, go to the 60 centimeters in that point up to the end of the century. We also have information about the speed. Obviously, the flooded area is different, but just because we are considering different values. Obviously, where you have most of the flood, the velocity of the water is going to be greater. And then we have the then you have the damage map that I showed you before. Right now we have just for the historical, but further analysis could lead to, also evaluate these damages for other periods and other scenarios. Right now is as the situation it is with historical data. And how can you use the platform? For example, if you want to make long-term planning, let's say, which is the vulnerability of the streets and of some areas, and we're not gonna build them, or we're gonna increase protection in that areas. The platform will be capable of, let's say in this way, changing the vulnerability. Okay, considering that you have this vulnerability, for example, this street is high vulnerability, we can then select the street and then make some information, add information we want. For example, a street test, closing street remarks, the street is closed. Okay, then we can add data. For example, we had pedestrians, 100 pedestrians per hour, or 1,000 pedestrians per hour, and then the system will get taken in consideration the information we have done, obviously changing the color, and when we're gonna evaluate the damage at a time without the projection, obviously the system will be taking in consideration the data we put, and maybe the risk is gonna be high, is gonna be low. Okay, so in this way we can modify the information we have into the platform to make planning, to make some tests, make some variations, try some modification of the cities, how it works. Other good stuff, we can actually add polygons, elements like this one. For example, this is in a hospital. The information is it sends Luca Hospital, but for example, here we can make like, I don't know, healthcare facilities. I'm going to show it again. We go here, vulnerable elements, go with a plus, so we can choose between right now, what do we have? Educational facilities, healthcare facilities, or street. In this case, we're going to put educational facilities, for example, a school. We can select a point, line, polygon, square, location. I'm going to put the polygon. I'm sorry, this one, polygon. We can freely draw a polygon. For example, this building right here. Okay, I don't know what is that, but let's assume it's a school. And we created this polygon with 12,000 square meter. And say Malta school. Remarks. It's a nice school. Direction, I don't know. Okay, save like that. And you can save information, and now we have the polygon here, which is created as a Malta school. You can set information made by who, which is the coordinate, which is the area, direction, I don't know. And you can obviously modify the information you want, and also you can delete the polygon, and that's it. Okay. So obviously it could be a bit tedious, to add all the polygon, but don't think about you have to add all this polygon. We can provide this polygon in case you need it. Think about this like I can modify, I can improve, I can play with the platform, modifying information we have. It's not a static platform, it's a dynamic platform at good opportunities to be exploited. And in a good way. What else we have? This part, which is the risk, has not been yet, but you will see maps which are similar to this one, but obviously taking into consideration also the flood maps. So combining the flood maps with this map you're showing right now, you're gonna have the risk map that you can see here inside a platform, which is pretty similar to this one that you see right now. National So for example, right now, I put in the streets and put in the name of the streets like X6, X6, add data, and I put in vehicles per hour, stuff like that. Okay. 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 So you have it right now. Okay.
The system will be changing. It's dynamic, and you'll get this color scale for impact and risk. So you can just play with it until, of course, if you have the true data, you can, or we can create the layer for the whole of the island. But this is something that you can modify by, for example, in a specific type of situation, under a certain type of rainfall, you can uh, decide to close a street for traffic and just leave it for pedestrians, or limit the number of pedestrians. And by modifying the number of vehicles and pedestrians in the edit part of the street, you can see how the risk and impact color of the street will change, and you can this is to support your decision making depending on the situation. You can check the best number of traffic, etc., for a street, considering the situation. So this is something that you will be using. It's one of the exercises so that you get familiar with.
Thanks, Cesar.
Sure.
And what's more, and we can put it on full screen. This way, we can make measures, length measures, make polygon measures considering the area, square meters, and hectares. And then what else? We can download the information. This is it. Basically, for the coastal part, it's going to be the same. Right now, we don't have all the information uploaded, but I mean, you can see you have this area, same stuff. You can change the scenarios. You can change the return period, the flood area. It's going to change. Okay. And as I said, you can click here. You have the information. You should have the information of the increase or the decrease of these areas within the end of the century, and that's it. Basically, this is the platform.
Yeah.
I mean, this the flood parts. And that's it. Any question? I'm here for that.
Maybe
Thank
we
you.
can move to the testing of the tools, since I think that we're running a little bit out of time. So I don't know if you wanna make a brief break of 5 minutes, or we should be ending in 45 minutes, more or less than an hour. So Nadia, you'll tell us if you need 5 minutes maybe to organize a little bit the thing, or we can move to the testing part.
I think.
Hi. We are here. Yes. Would you like a 5 minute break? Yes, we will have a 5 minute break and then we can start.
Great.
Okay.
Okay then.
Thank
So see you in 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. We will be probably needing some support for sure.
Don't
So,
worry.
thank
See you now. Thanks. Okay, then. So I'll stay here so you can see me and let me know whenever you are.
Yes, we are
ready.
here. We're
Okay.
just drinking a bit of coffee. So we've just been informed that we're expecting a storm this evening. Do you think we can check it?
A storm.
Yeah, we're expecting a storm. Is correct? Am I saying? Huh? High winds, and rain.
Okay, let me take a look.
Well, we're in the right department here, so.
One second. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Doing gust. Okay, I'm checking the tool and I see that the wing cast layer is not showing. I don't know why. Let me update it. Because yesterday it was working. Okay.
Għandhom tool jiċċekkjaw il-wind. Għax peress li għed tool li għaw storm, saqsejtu nistawx narawa. 4, 5, 4. Met Office.
Yeah.
So the report from the Met Office is that we will have a force 4 to 5 wind. 5 to 6, sorry.
Yeah, I checked yesterday and I saw that well, there's a low pressure system developing right now on the east part of Spain, moving to Italy. So yeah, I checked yesterday and there were supposed to be strong winds from northeasterlies above Malta. Yesterday I saw that the wind gas layer was working as well as the wave height. Now I cannot see it. moving. But the precipitation layer, it is working, and not just on Malta. I'm checking the whole picture, also in Italy, and I see that well, the likelihood of a thunderstorm is quite low. Maybe some showers could develop around the island, very weak, and maybe it could be, I don't know how to say it in English. It's dry thunderstorms that you can have the development of the cloud, but low precipitation is expected, maybe a strong wind gust associated to them. But it's not going to be something like massive around the archipelago. But if you go to the, well, you can see if you go to the precipitation layer on the tool, you can see that there are some colors around the island.
We will look at it.
But it's not exceeding the half millimeter.
And it will increase in the afternoon. Okay, we're ready to start, Cesar.
Okay. Yeah, I'm checking now. This is on Monday. Yeah, for example, well, you can check it now. For Monday, once the low pressure system moves north of Malta to Greece, for Monday and Tuesday, there are more likelihood of some more strong thunderstorms developing around the archipelago. So if you click, we'll see it now.
Okay.
if you click on a point, you can see that you get or maybe it's easier if I just share the screen for a moment.
So we will check it then.
Where is it? Here.
Well,
Okay. If
here-
you hear, can you see screen now?
yes.
Great. So yeah, you can see that here on Sunday, on Tuesday. This is Monday. You get the rainfall, and clicking. You see now that today is 28th. There's a very small likelihood of rainfall. As I said, with more probability there could be any type of dry thunderstorm. And on Sunday and Monday specifically, you get more likelihood of some thunderstorms coming from the south or southeast around the archipelago, going north to Italy and Greece. So maybe this is something that we can discuss later on the improvements. Maybe it could be a possibility to increase or widen the window of the platform. Maybe or zoom out a little bit so that you can get more details on what's going around the archipelago, not only on the islands, because I know that you commented me that it's quite normal that the forecast maybe goes on thunderstorms or rainfall, and in the end it just goes off the shore, yeah, or doesn't affect you. So yeah, maybe having the forecast, maybe some pixels around the archipelago, seeing if there's likelihood of rainfall 20 or 30 kilometers offshore, and you could consider that maybe it could in the end affect you. That's something that we could discuss. Okay, so I'll just keep sharing so that you can see my screen while we're making the exercises. Let me check because I can't see you.
Irrid nidħol fl-exercises kemm
No,
nidħol hekk u x'hekk suppost.
Okay, so we can move to the exercise part or testing. Do you all have the templates, right?
Jew ħalli just in case.
So I don't know if maybe. Do you want me to share the screen so that you can see also the template, or?
So we have printed the templates.
Great.
So we have them as a hard copy.
Yeah.
Then
if
of
you
course
want, yeah.
we will go bit by bit. So we will be needed to be guided as to what part. So we start with the projection of future, and we will do the both exercises.
Sure.
Okay.
So yeah, let me know if do you prefer. Well, yeah, I'll leave the screen shared so that I can move.
Yes, I think. Can we do the first one together with you, please? It
Sure.
would be.
So yeah, I'll do the first one,
Yeah.
and then ideally, since it's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 exercises, maybe 5 minutes per exercise could be okay.
Yeah, should be okay.
Okay, so the first one I'll do it. This is on the extreme climate tab, which is I have all them here. Here, you got climatology.
Go into
extreme
climatology,
climate.
right?
Yeah.
Extreme climate. The climate. Okay.
So, yeah, if you want, since we have around 5 minutes, I can leave you 2-3 minutes to move around the tool and try, and then I'll just do the exercise together with you. So yeah, we go. The exercise says generate and download an animation of the 20-year extreme rainfall and upper changing scenario. So I'm gonna duplicate this and drag it down so that I have it on the other window, and I don't have to be changing the tab all the time. So yeah, the exercise says generate and download an animation of the 20-year extreme rainfall and upper change scenario. So first we gotta go to the layers and select the one that we've been asked to, which is the extreme rainfall, which is, well, in this case, it's named maximum daily precipitation. And when we have it selected, it says that we need to select the upper change scenario. Here, remember that the scenarios and the return periods, it's on the upper right corner. So it says the upper change, lower, medium, upper change scenario, and the 20-year return period. So it's 5, 10, 20, and 30. We select 20. Since it is an animation, we don't need to select a specific time here in the time bar, since the animation is gonna go throughout all of them. So to generate an animation, remember that here on the right bar of the screen we have this line with a lot of tools. To generate an animation, it's on the play button. So we just click. It says animation, start date time. We select the historical period to take a look at the climate that we used to enjoy. And on date and time, the last part of the animation. So we go all the way until the end of the century. And an interval seconds, the minimum is 3. We can just put 5, whatever, but we'll go with 3. So we have, it says generate and download. To download it, we have this arrow. So it'll just download a GIF, but I'll also click on OK, since I'm sharing only this screen. If you click on download, you'll get a local GIF file. If you click on OK, you'll see the animation live on the platform, and now you can see that it's changing here. Can you see it? If you see on the time bar on the upper part, the selector moves and indicates you the time that it's being displayed at the moment.
Cesar, for the exercise, do you need one sheet from everyone or a collective? I think a collective document would be okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least you have approved that it's been well. I mean, we have the recording of the session on YouTube, so we know that you're working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a copy could be okay. So since I'm gonna be doing the exercises in the end with you, I'll be the one pasting the screenshot on the document, or well, you're doing it. Wait. Oh, it moves. Great. Okay, so here you can see in the document that the GIF file it's pasted here and it moves.
So the template is taking up the image automatically.
Yeah, I don't know who's the one that pasted it, but yeah, this is the GIF, the GIF. So you can see that it's animated and it's great.
If you prefer, you can download the template and working on the own PC.
Yes, we're also downloading it just to look at both options. But
if you prefer, it's well.
Yeah.
Right. No problem.
Okay, so let me know once that you're ready to move to the next one.
We can do the second one now. Let me check on Chris. Chris, are you still with us? Are you managing? Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes, still here.
You're managing to work as well?
Yes, yes, but currently I'm also juggling between work meetings because next week we have some international
Yeah.
people coming
Okay.
over. So, but
Thank
I'm
you.
keeping up.
Okay.
Like the the extensions were really helpful. Even just the naming of the titles on the not the toolbar, the website. I don't know how you say, like, meteorology gives you Copernicus sees.
Copernicus.
Yeah, for the seasonal forecast.
It gives you different titles. The subdivisions were helpful.
Yeah, maybe instead of ECMWF, we should put weather forecast, and instead of Copernicus CS5, we could put seasonal forecast. Yeah.
No, but I'm still here. I'm keeping up.
Thank you. Okay, so you let me know, Nadia, if we can move to the next one, maybe.
Yes, we can move on to the next one, please.
Great,
I think we're already working on it.
Great. So the second one says generate again a multi-model and multi-scenario ensemble for 1 point, and then obtain an uncertainty measure of extreme temperature with box plots. So we can, since it has 2 parts, we can go first to the first one. So it says generate a multi-model and multi-scenario ensemble for 1 point. In this case, we are again we are still at the extreme climate. So I'll go to the back tab. You can pause if you select it or you decided to show the animation on screen. You can just pause it in the same button as you can play it. So that's so that it stops. So it says generate a multi-model and multi-scenario ensemble for 1 point. In this case, in the second part, it asks for extreme temperature. So I'll just select extreme temperature now. Maximum temperature, it says. So remember that if you click on any point of the archipelago, you'll get a window popping up with the variation of the values into the future. So to generate a multi-model and multi-scenario ensemble, you gotta click on the dice button right here, and you'll see this new window with the options available to form this new graphic. Remember, on the left box you have the options available, and on this right box the options selected. Same for return period. So you can click them all, 3 scenarios, 4 return periods, and then click OK. Remember to widen a little bit the screen because it appears really small. So this would be a multi-model, since we are working with 3 changing scenarios, and multi-scenario ensemble for 1 point. You got the coordinates in here. In this, I think this is UTM coordinates. So this will be the first part. And to obtain an uncertainty measure, remember that to change from box plot to plume plot, you can click the bar plot button here, and you will be switching from one to another. Same again, if you click on 1, 2, 3 or more variables, once you click them, just by clicking the button of gather or group graphics, it will update and show all the variables that have been selected. Again, if you decide to deselect some of the variables, click the same button and it will update.
Cesar, distanza meta tgħid kif kabbar how do you enlarge the image, please, so that we can have a better picture?
Yeah, just drag the cursor up to the corner And once it changes to 2 arrows, you can just wide or narrow the screen. Yeah. If you put the cursor on just one of the sides, you'll just move it horizontally, so you gotta go to the corner.
انت الاين سديت اللاين بار ما نحسب خط شيء مشريدي هذه انا وخط بارامترز ديفرنت مالتي موديل مالتي موديل اتريتكم مالتي موديل انت عملت مالتي موديل ومالتي شغال.
So, do you manage to achieve it?
Okay, down 3000.
Yes, I'll just do it all over again. So just it would be to select the point of interest, go to the dice button, select the periods and return period, and go OK.
عشان تمبراتورة بس maximum temperature أو فوق
So in this case, you can see that for the historical period, the models move around 30 to 32 degrees. And the extremist value, the median and extremist values into the future goes up to 33, the median, and the most severe value goes up to 37. In this point, likely, I don't know if it's around Lucca Airport. Did you achieve it, guys?
Yes. To download it. Okay.
Tell me whenever we can move to the next one, Nadia.
Can move to the next one? Yes.
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay then. So then we'll move to exercise number 2, which is now we are going to the meteorological and seasonal forecast. So we gotta use now the meteorology tab. On the first one, the first exercise in this part, it says create a mosaic of precipitation and maximum temperature from the ECMWF. So in this case, we go to the meteorology module, and we click on the ECMWF part, which is the European Center of Media Range for the forecast. And then it says create a mosaic of precipitation and maximum temperature. So we open the layer bar here, clicking on this box on the upper left part, and we select the variables that are of interest. In this case, it says precipitation and maximum temperature. So we have precipitation and maximum temperature. And once both variables are selected, we gotta go to the right bar here with the generic tools, and on these 6 small squares it says create mosaic. So I click on it, and we'll get a new tab on the browser opened with the mosaic for both variables. So then the exercise says modify the mosaic area and export it to PDF. So as you can see, the mosaic here, it's quite difficult to say since each variable gets a unique row. So to move in the row, we gotta move the horizontal bar. But since this is not really friendly to use, the best way to take it is to export it to a PDF. So as the exercise says, it says modify the mosaic area and export it to PDF. To modify the area, in these tools that we have here, these green buttons, we gotta click on the select area, which is the map icon, and then we can just maybe put the focus only on the Malta island by dragging the box. And once we click, you can see that the pics change. And now that we have the area of interest, we just gotta click on the printer, export mosaic to PDF. And we get this this online PDF with 1 page per variable, and the time goes from upper left corner down to the right, down right corner, so you can see the evolution, in this case of maximum temperature on the first page, and of precipitation on the second page. The time is, as you can see, in this case the mosaic is only 1 day. Okay, so it goes from the first is 28th of April midday to the 29th of April midday. So if you can change this back to the mosaic window. Here you have the iterations, just 24 hours, 2, and the date. So you can click, you can take May and up until the 3rd of May, 12 hours. And maybe the interval of 6 hours. Okay, so you can change here the iterations, the hours, and the date. And again, create a new PDF. And oh, sorry, I started on the 3 of May instead of the. Let's start today on the 28th. Every 6 hours, 24 iterations. Now it should be working. Okay, now. So you gotta select the first day that you want to see. You select the first day, the number of hours of the interval, and the number of iterations. So this selection that I picked would be starting from the 28th, which is today. 1 picture every 6 hours and 24 pictures. And the PDF that you get is here. If you go to precipitation, you can see that some precipitation is expected tonight. Some again the 1st of May by midnight and midday, and some more decent precipitation by the 2 of May. Again, this is zoomed in the Malta island, so if we can, as I said, incorporate more area to the platform, maybe you could get a wider view of how the precipitation is behaving around the archipelago. Okay, so this is something that I forgot to mention before, but yeah, you can modify the days, the hours, etc. of the mosaic here below the time bar. Great. We move to the next one. Let me know, Nadia. Or
Can we move on to the next one? Yes, yes, we can.
great. Yeah, I'm sorry to forget this before, but this is quite important because if we don't modify the date and the hours, we get just 1 day of mosaic, and the most important part is to move to get maybe 10 days into the future. Okay, so the next one would be generate a punctual graph of temporal evolution of precipitation and maximum temperature from ECMWF and print the report. So we have the same variables. Again, it's precipitation and maximum temperature. So if we are on the same tab as before, the ECMWF with the two variables that we selected for the mosaic, remember that to generate a punctual graph, we just gotta click on one point of the archipelago, and instantly we get this new window with the forecast for that point. If we change the number of variables, the window will update automatically. If we want this to be on a more friendly way displayed, we got these three options here in the window. Remember, the exercise says print the report. So we got the option of opening in a new tab when we can see the forecast in a bigger way, or download a PDF or an Excel. If you want the data on an Excel sheet, since that it's maybe better for your daily work, I don't know, you also got the option. So in this case, we download a PDF and we'll get a one-page document with the coordinates, the date, and the forecast. The more variables that you select, the more rows that will be attached to the document. Oh, sorry. Remember, this is something that I haven't mentioned, that in the window that pops up with information, you can click on it with the mouse and drag and create a new window so that you can zoom in on the prediction. And by double clicking, you get back. So you can, for example, as I'm doing right now, well, this is not. You can click and maybe zoom in the precipitation that is forecasted for the next week, so you can see it more clearly for hours, and then just double click to zoom out. Great. Let me know when we can move forward. Is it going smoothly, Nadia?
Yes, I think we're managing here. Okay.
Nice.
I guess we can move on to the next one, please.
Great. So let me close the tabs that are necessary. So if we go to the exercise number 3, we are going now to the flooding part of the platform, future projection of river floods. So now we gotta go and click the flood module, and then click on inland flooding.
So we're on exercise 3 or 2? 3, right? Yeah. 3.
So yeah, you go flood and then click on inland flooding, and you'll see this this new window with the aerial view of the islands, and then you just can zoom in to the area of interest. So the exercise says generate an animation of the water velocity and depth of a 20 years return period and the upper changes scenario. So it's quite like what we did before for the extreme climate. So we gotta first select the variables, which is velocity, well, speed here on hazard, and depth. Okay, so maybe this could be better written. Maybe we could generate one animation per variable, since it hasn't much sense to duplicate both variables one over the other, because the colors are the same, so it could be confusing. So maybe in this case we start with depth. We select depth. Yeah, or the one that you want. I mean, if we click both of them at the same time, since they have the same colors, they solve one above the other, and it gets confusing. So we just leave one depth in this case. And just as before, like before, here on the right top right corner, we can change the scenario and the return period. Yeah, whatever you want. I mean, it's the same. So the exercise asks for upper scenario. We change it here, and 20 years. And then to generate an animation, it's just like we did before. Click on the play button on this green line here on the right, and same as before. First step, last step, interval of seconds, and then you can click on download or OK to animate it live in the platform. Yes. Wait for the animation to play once, so that all the layers are loaded, and then it will just go smoother. So if you want to change the animation from one variable to the other, just click on the pause video button, sorry, change the variable, and repeat the process.
When we're downloading, it's giving us an error here, Cesar.
It's giving you what?
It's giving an error when we download.
An error? Okay, let me check. Yeah, sorry, an error occurred. Maybe this could be due to the big type of layer, or that I don't know. Maybe it's because it's a TIFF.
In this case, it's not implemented this functionality, sorry, but
okay.
You can view the animation in the screen.
Yeah, since maybe it's because since the climate layers are quite simple and this is really complex, so you can just play it on the platform.
Maybe we can do print screen for see. We're trying print screen. So
yeah, I can do it if you want. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll just make a capture and paste it here, or you do it. Great.
It's good. Yes. We're discussing our age in 2071 here as well.
Okay, so let me know when we can move forward. As I said, just to generate. Okay.
Yes, we can proceed on to the next one.
Great. So I'll just pause the animation. And the next one says it's still here on the inland flooding. So the next one says generate, just like we did before with the precipitation, generate a multi-model and multi-scenario ensemble for 1 point. So in this case, I have selected the speed, so we can just, I don't know, whatever, here, the Chromie channel. We can just zoom in and click on the point that we want the plot to be performed. And once we have it, remember just to make the ensemble just like before. Select the dice, click on the scenario, click on the return period that we want, and we get the same plumes that we obtained before. And then the second part, it asks for an uncertainty measure, so it's clicking on the bar plot, and we can again switch from one to the other. And the last part, it says group velocity and depth plots. So just as I mentioned, if we select one more variable, we have another option, another button which says group graphics. So we click on it, the graphic will update and show both variables. So we get depth on the top row and speed on the bottom row. Okay, just let me check one thing. This needs to be changed. if you have any type of doubt, or just let me know. Same as when we can move forward.
We can move on. Cesar.
Great. So the next exercise, which is number 4, it asks for generation of a punctual graph of temporal evolution of precipitation and flooding warnings. This is of seasonal forecast, so we get to move back to the meteorology and Copernicus CS5 tab, which is this one. This is to check the sort of operative functionality that we just implemented, but as I said, this is somehow modified, considering that no big precipitation is expected the next days. Let me just take a look. I move. Yeah, it's only working on seasonal. Okay, so once we are on the Copernicus CS5 window, which is the seasonal forecast, it asks for a punctual graph of the temporal evolution of precipitation and flooding warning. So we gotta go to the variables layer bar, and on the flow field, select precipitation alert and flow depth. Yeah. So in the case of April, since the month is already passed, there's no seasonal forecast available. So we gotta move to May in the time bar here, or June or July, but in this case, to get something visible, May. And once we're in May, with both variables selected, we get these colors that will show us the alert of precipitation, high precipitation danger, and the corresponding flow depth associated to that event. As I said, this is fictional. So to get a punctual graph, we just click on the point that, well, on the 2 pixels that are showing something in this case, and we'll get this window with the precipitation alert going from 0 to 5, which is associated with the colors, and the flow depth in meters expected for that point. So this is meant to work on an operational way, also for the ECMWF. So after the workshop, we'll put the algorithm back to how it was, and it should be showing the appropriate colors and flooding once we get a good rainfall forecast. I mean. Of course, these thresholds or these alerts that have been configured from low to extreme are prone to be changed, considering your feedback or your needs. Same with, well, the depths are taken from the pre-calculated layers of Aquatec, considering the extremest case. But the alerts could be changed, of course, and the thresholds modified if it's needed.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, great. So the last one is exercise 5, decision making. So in this case, we got to, to go back to the inland flooding. Just on the top we were before. And here this is an exercise to play a little bit with the vulnerability elements of the streets. So it says input a 20-year return upper scenario for okay, so we gotta go to the 20-year return period, upper scenario, and the year 2046. So it says reduce analyzed flood risk vehicles. So I'm just gonna deselect. We have, as you can see here, a variable in risk field that it says analyzed inland flooding risk. Is this the one? Yeah, for vehicles.
The risk.
Yeah. So if we deselect the vulnerable elements right here at the top, we can see that there are some streets in Valletta that have colors in them. So to the exercise asks us to reduce the risk by modifying the thresholds on the street element. So to change the street elements, we got to select again vulnerable elements, zoom in, and click on the street that we want to modify, maybe this one. And on the edit button, we have these values that were already introduced of 9 pedestrians per hectare, 100 vehicles, etc. So you can just click on other street or on the ones that are colored, and I'll leave you 5 minutes to change the values. You have on the template you have a box with some values that you can use. The flow depth vehicle resilience is a constant, same for deep speed vehicle, and you can change on the planning on vehicle hours, which is 0 to 215, etc. Just change the values that are susceptible of changing, like vehicles or pedestrian, and click on add data, and the color will be changing, and yeah.
Can you repeat the process again, please?
Can you repeat, please?
Sure. So if you have zoom in here, you have these streets colored, which correspond to the analyzed inland flooding risk. So in order to change them, you gotta go select the vulnerable elements again, click on the street that you want to modify, one that is already colored or one that has no color in them, and in the new window on the edit button,
We don't have the edit button.
The edit button.
you don't have the edit button?
No.
Okay. So I guess those are permissions. Okay. Unexpected situation. Okay, so I'll just do
Can
it.
you demonstrate to us?
Yeah,
please?
sure. So in this case, let me go back. This street here, which I remember it was absolutely beautiful from when I was there.
Wall Street, that's a big one.
This, maybe the permission is expected for advanced users, because it's for adding vulnerable elements. So in order to control, to check the real or current state of each vulnerable element, we need to activate this permission. Sorry
Yeah,
for that.
don't worry. So in this case, we have, as you said, these fields. So we're gonna change them using the values that are in the template. In this case, for the flow deep vehicle resilience, is this one? It's 0.28, so it's this one, 0.4, which is a constant. And in the vehicles per hour, we have this value of 100, which, as I said, you can modify this depending on the situation, the context, considering that one day is gonna be holiday and you're expecting more traffic, or you can see if you cut the street under a forecast of extreme rainfall, if the risk or the impact is supposed to go lower. So we can change this from 100 vehicles to a high concentration of 450 maybe, and we click here and edit, and I don't know if I have to maybe update.
Okay.
Let me check. Upper 20. So I think, I don't know if this has been saved, the change. Let me check. No, what I have done is erase the value. Yes, I'm a genius. So it's 450. Edit. Now, let me check if it's saved. Yeah, and I'll just re-upload.
I think it's automatically.
Yeah, it should be, but
You need to change, for example, putting close the street with zero value, every value in the number of.
low speed, flow deep resilience. So I don't know if this updates automatically. It should, but since this is something quite accessory, maybe we just didn't pay attention to it.
No problem. Depends of the.
Yeah, it should be changing to red, but I don't know. But well, I mean, as I said, once we have in the future, when we have a good set of data with all this information, this could be modified and a layer could be created just like the one from vulnerability for the whole streets, and the function or the capability of editing all the street and changing it from a daily basis depending on the context, and adding or changing some of the information considering some punctual modifications. The platform is able to change the layer and update it constantly. I don't know why this is not changing, but since I say this was a test that we did some months ago, and maybe we didn't just check if it updates or not. But well, the function is here and it can be changed if it's needed. And I think that's everything. Oh, there's an extra question.
Just for comments,
Okay,
suggestions from the users.
Yeah.
Please.
So I'll stop sharing, and if you want, we can have we are far beyond the hour of closing. So if you want, we can have a 5 minutes of chatting and get your feedback, comments, suggestions, and then we just can put an end to the workshop and let you go and have something for lunch.
Nadia,
Yes.
questions from from the users?
Questions.
Well, actually, the questions, we just explored the tool, which is quite good and could be very usable from our side.
Tista' tiġew forsi jismawkom direttament. I'm asking Mr. Kalleja to come and speak closer to the mic.
Yeah, don't worry.
Well, we just, it's a bit complex tool. With more practice, it could be more useful from our side. We thank you for this presentation. Actually, all of my colleagues struggled a bit, even. But yes, I would like to thank you for this presentation.
Thank you too. So just as I mentioned before, that we know that there are some limitations and some functionalities that we would like to have developed, but we have this situation with the funding. So just to let you know that, well, we are capable of doing it, and there could be much more functionalities implemented, and hopefully if we get the chance of doing it, just to let you know that, of course, any type of feedback or need from your side, if the platform gets finally acquired, it could be implemented no matter how.
Okay, thank you.
We can, you had told me that we still have access to the tool, right? So maybe we can even continue practice a little bit on it if we have the opportunity to do so.
Sure, we leave the credentials accessible for some days, so feel free to keep using it.
For the end of the year, until December.
Until December. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, well, I mean, the testing credentials or the testing user that we just created for today, maybe if you find
I don't know, the same.
Yeah.
I think it's the same user, but we can check with Sonia from MetaGrid. But I think this user or another one is available until December.
Yeah, until December, no problem. I mean, this one that is that was made for testing purposes, as you can see, some permissions are not available, so we could change that so that you can have access to more of the functionalities of the tool. But yeah, don't worry about that.
Maybe we can see if it can. We can do a session. I will discuss with Peter Paul. Maybe when you're doing something related also to the tsunami project, maybe we can have a joint activity.
Okay, then we have to speak
discuss.
to Mr. Zamuto, who was responsible for the tsunami exercise and tsunami report. Yes, and even I will show him this presentation to Mr. Valera. We can just have a meeting.
Yeah. We can
the way forward.
So I am suggesting, Cesar, maybe this could be also something that we can showcase to Climate Kick, but also, of course, I think it is important for the project itself. We can do a joint exercise with the team working on the tsunami project from CPD, and maybe then we can also discuss with George's team. Maybe they have something related to either of their projects as well, and maybe then we can see how the two tools or projects could be related to one another. Maybe it could be something that we can put as an implementation of the project.
Sure. Yeah. Any type of collaboration or seek of synergies with other type of projects are very much welcome. Of course. You see that there's one of the tabs that we didn't work with was the coastal flooding. So if that's of any use to you for the tsunami project or any other type of activity, very much appreciated, of course.
Great. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay then. So I don't know if you want, Robert or Nadia, if you feel okay, we can maybe put an end to the workshop and I'll leave you here.
Yeah. Okay, we can. I think we can So I have fulfilled all the obligations for the project. We just need to take an official photo and then we'll send you the report.
Nice. Okay then.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you all very much for
Thank you.
attending. And I wish you well, bon profit and have a nice evening. Thank you all for staying here.
Thank you, Cesar. Thank you, Robert. Andrea.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Bye. Thanks, Chris. Iva,